AQA English Language Paper 2 Question 5 is the writing question in Paper 2. It is a 40-mark question with 24 marks awarded for AO5 and 16 marks awarded for AO6. Section B builds on Section A. In Section A, you were given two sources presenting viewpoints on a topic or theme, and you've answered questions on how the writers present those viewpoints. In Section B, you have an opportunity to present your own personal viewpoint. In this question, you'll be presented with a controversial statement and asked to respond with your viewpoint. Let's look at a typical question. School uniform is the number one most important factor in ensuring that students behave well and achieve academic success at school. Write a letter to your head teacher arguing for or against the abolition of school uniform. Now, it's worth pointing out here that historically, 3 out of the 4 past live papers have given you the choice of agreeing or disagreeing with the statement. Just once there's been a statement where you've not been asked to agree or disagree, but asked to explain your view on something. For example, the question was something like this. Most lessons are boring. Write a letter to your teacher explaining what you think makes a good school lesson. So in that case, you couldn't choose to agree or disagree, but you still had the freedom to decide what to write about in what you decided made a good school lesson. The question will always set out a clear audience, purpose, and form. Now, form is an interesting one because there's a minimum expectation of what to include for each form of writing and other features you might include. For example, with a letter, at a minimum, it needs to be clear that you are sending a letter to someone. You might achieve that through writing Dear Mrs. Smith at the beginning, and you have to write in paragraphs too. You can then take that all the way through to what we know of the full letter form, your address, the date, the formal mode of address, an appropriate sign-off like yours sincerely or yours faithfully. Now for me, I think it's easier to use all of the features of the given form rather than to have to stop and try to remember which ones I need to include and which ones I don't. The forms you might be asked to write in include a letter, an article, the text for a leaflet, a speech, or an essay. And we don't have time to go through all of those here, but they are all covered in Mr. Bruff's Guide to GCSE English Language, which is available in paperback on Amazon or ebook at mrbruff.com. You'll also be given a specific purpose for your work. This could be worded as writing to explain, instruct, advise, argue, or persuade. There's also a chance it could be worded as something different again, but the key thing is that whatever the wording in the question, you're being asked to present your viewpoint on a topic. The third thing is audience, and this is something many students overlook. Now, one of the key skills for high marks in this question is to actually write an answer that is highly plausible, made up of convincing ideas. Let me give you an example from a real exam a number of years ago to show you what I mean. The question was, write a letter to your parents in which you persuade them to let you go on holiday with a friend this summer. I was an examiner on this exam and I marked over 300 attempts at this question. Thinking about audience was so important with this question, and I'll tell you why. Most students realised that, with their parents as the audience, they would need to persuade them of the benefits of the holiday, such as learning a new language, experiencing a new culture, and developing independence. And these students were thinking carefully about what their audience, their parents, would likely be persuaded by. Some students did not think about this at all. They wrote about going to Ibiza, staying out all night, and getting drunk. And of course, these answers were not convincing. They did not really take into account who their audience was and how they could best persuade that audience. A tiny percentage of top-marked students thought carefully about their audience and used that connection with their parents to be subtle. They wrote things like, "Dear Mum and Dad, I know I've been moody during my exams and you deserve a break. I know you want me to grow up to be independent and not reliant on you forever. Well, here's a solution to both of those issues. Let me go on holiday with a friend this summer." You see, the top-marked skills of writing something highly plausible, enthralling, original, and subtle are only likely to come if you think carefully about your audience and how you can best present your viewpoint to them. Another thing to think about is your structure. Less successful answers are made up of separate ideas presented with no sense of sequencing. Better answers present a line of argument, well structured. Perhaps you can have a cyclical structure where you begin and end with the same idea for emphasis. Perhaps you can begin simply and move on to develop more complex ideas. Thinking about your structure is very important. As with Paper 1 Question 5, 16 marks are awarded for technical accuracy. That means you need to give yourself plenty of time to check your work, both as you are writing and also at the end.
I hope you found this video useful. If you'd like to see a longer video on this question, then you can see one just here. Click on the screen and you'll be taken to that video. Please do subscribe to the channel.